Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back into another video. Today's video is to talk about the recent patch that was just showcased a few minutes ago on the official Paladins game Twitch channel, and which we live reacted here on my channel, on Kreepers YT, on TTV. You can find that really easy, and we do that every patch, so if another patch comes up, you will know where you can find a live reaction to it, and also some later discussion to the patch. But now that we're here, I'm also going to be recording what we've learned because the patch notes apparently are only coming out tomorrow or later tonight. So let's get into the first information they said on the stream. The first thing they said on stream was straight away additional ranked bans. From now on, we will have 2 at the start and then 2 when we reach the third pick on each side of the team. So similar to what we got now, but instead of being 2 bans at the start, 1 ban in the middle, it will be 2 bans at the start, 2 bans in the middle. With this, they also upgraded the amount of champions you need to have unlocked on your team, which means that you now need 18 champions. And like Cryptech explained on stream, and it makes a lot of sense, and I've always said this before, you need to have as much as champions as it possibly can be picked and also banned, so that you're not the last person to pick and you get outpicked and you have no champions available for you to pick. That would just create a clash on the game, and obviously that wouldn't be too good. So you're going to need 18 champions to enter the game now. Following that same information, we now know that Maeve will become a free champion, which means everybody will have Maeve for free. And they also have been shifting some of the prices of some of the champions, which mean they will be a lot cheaper than normal. And also talking about this because a lot of people have been struggling on the last 2 or 3 patches to get gold to buy champions. I do have a video on how you can get that gold to get the champions faster, so that's also very huge. Go into my YouTube channel, search for how to make gold. I got 2 videos, one of them is more updated. But one of the things that I explained on that video is that people can just go and do the trials on where there's missions for golds. Now, people are questioning, are Trials of the Realm coming back? They will come back. Not just right now, but they will come back. Because Cryptech recently, I've asked this a bunch of times already, there was never a word about canceling it entirely. They just said that they want to look into it and not only just put probably better rewards, who knows, I don't know, that's just me assuming, but they want to try to fix it as much as possible, and they also want to try to put new exciting stuff in it, right? So because they're working so heavily on the rest of the things, that is not going to happen right now. It's not going to be on this patch. In fact, this patch is not actually a real patch. This is a mid patch, which means we're going to continue with the exact same event pass, the one of the Midnight Masquerade, and this will happen at the end of June. We are now at day 7, and around 2028, that should be when the patch hits live. Now, PDS should hit around days 10, 9 at night or something. That's what at least the information they gave. So if you're wondering about that, there you go. That's the information you need. Now let's talk about the modes. They talked about a bunch of different modes. One of them is TDM, that it's leaving because they're going to be looking into it a little bit more, because they said they needed to possibly change some things, because TDM doesn't really work exactly like other games. Like other games who also have similar modes like this. So they really want to try to bring it to a better place, right? So I'm imagining they either going to put more kills as the objective or fix the spawns or something like that. Instead, they will be bringing Onslaught back. But here's the twist, Onslaught is coming by itself into the game. So King of the Hill is actually not going to be inside of the queue of the Onslaught, and instead it will be an LTM. So you don't actually have to worry about going onto Onslaught and thinking, crap, I'm going to have that King of the Hill mode, which I hate. Nope. Don't have to worry about it. You're only going to get Onslaught, which, I mean, it's wonderful news for a lot of people, obviously. So there you go. So TDM is going to rotate out at the end of this match, and they'll put in Onslaught without King of the Hill. But they also spoke about a different mode. We'll talk about that mode in the end, because they only spoke about it in the end to show a little bit off the mode. But right now, let's just continue here to what other things they talked about. One of them was, for example, the Brights March. In case you don't know what Brights March is this map right here. This one here. Now, if you're not familiar with this, let me explain it to you real quick. This map used to have a crap ton of resources and effects. Like right now you can't see it well here, but in certain sections there was a lot of plants, There were a lot of like butterflies all around, environmental sounds, and a lot of things that just got removed over time for some reason. Nobody understood why. And apparently they brought it back. That's right. It is back. And they are really looking into feedback to see if it's working correctly, if everything is back to normal or not. So once you get the PDS, make sure you check out the map. All right, this is one of the things that should be tested, and see how it's going to look like. Okay, if it looks good, if you think that it's something missing, just let it know. Okay, let people know. Well, they need that information. Another thing they did was also improving readability on loading frames. That is actually for the titles, the names of the characters, and whatever other text there might be on the loading frames, on the loading screen, so that it can be seen and read better. Okay, so a lot better. They also refreshed, or in this case, let's just say they reworked a little bit of a thing, which is when you're picking talents, when you're starting off a game, you're picking a talent, then the loadout. What they did was that they allow you now to see what talent you picked when you're selecting your loadout, because, you know, sometimes you would have to go back and see which talent that I selected, right? That happened to me all the time. That happens to me all the time, and I'm guessing that a lot of you already had that happening to you. So they did that, and not just that, but they also made it so that now, instead of looking a little bit something like, let's say like this, where you'll be greeted with 6 loadouts, 3 on one side and 3 on the other, instead it will be 3 on top and 3 on the bottom, and the 3 on top will be the default ones. Obviously, if you change them, they will be those loadouts, obviously, but you understand my point here, right? So that's the information they gave us about that. Let's see here if they mentioned anything else, just so I can explain everything to you so you guys don't get greeted with anything out of the ordinary. Let's talk about balance here, because this is the next thing they talk about. They increased the price to Rejuvenate. Apparently Rejuvenate is doing some heavy work or something, because they decided to increase the price, although I definitely do not agree with it. In fact, a lot of people don't buy Rejuvenate, and Rejuvenate, it is very, very good. I know that it's not something you can feel straight away. You might think that it's not doing anything, but I guarantee you, in the late game, Rejuvenate is massive, because it does counter a portion of Cauterize. It's not that much, but it's super good at late game, all right, because that little tiny help can sometimes save you. And then it also, at early game, makes you super hard to die if your support is putting its work in. So Rejuvenate is really good. I would consider start using Rejuvenate, even if the price did go up or not, okay, guys? So let's talk about the other change, Bulldozer. Now, this one I don't really understand. Maybe they're planning on putting some other champion with, with deployables, and they're making this, better. Or maybe they just had some sort of a situation about the Monty's Dragon, because let's be honest here. You don't really buy Bulldozer for a lot of things, except mostly the Dragon of the Money. And even then, people still don't buy it, right? It's really, really rare. So what they decided to do was to make it stronger on each one of the levels. And I guess it's like, so you don't really have to go like to tier 3, but if you do go to tier 3, it is way more effective. This does go hand to hand with Record, because Record does 30, 60, 90%. And yeah, Bulldozer was only doing 25, 50, 75%, which didn't make a lot of sense. I guess this will be huge for Kasumi, considering the fact that she already has that passive of doing double the damage of the normal damage to the deployables. And there's actually a bug that allows you to go up to 2,000 damage on deployables, which I still haven't understood how that works. All right, let's continue here. They talk about, for example, Genos. All right, now let's talk about Genos. Genos got nerfed. As you guys saw on the last patch, he got this huge, insane buff on all different places, and it was just too much. He did have 1 or 2 cards that were bugged. The card that increases the distance. How do I explain? The distance of the placing of the mark, and also the card that apparently increased the duration of the mark. I don't really understand, but for some reason they weren't working, and I don't know exactly if it's fixed now. So if you guys have any information on that, you can drop it down in the comments below. I don't really remember, okay? But essentially what they did is they brought a little bit of some of these buffs down, just a little bit, right? They took 1 second from the duration of the mark. They reduced 50 HP of healing on the initial heal mark that you place on people. not the one that does the replacement, and then whoever has the mark will get some heals. And then they also increase the cooldown again of placing the mark by 1 second, meaning that the ration card probably will be necessary now to compensate these 2 seconds, the extra second of cooldown and the extra second that got demolished by the reducing the cooldown of the, not the cooldown, the duration of the mark. After Genos, they talked about Ray. Ray was a surprise. I didn't actually knew about this one. Not only did her ultimate was brought back into what it was originally, where you do not die once you trigger it, the person you connected to might still die, but at least you won't, so the ultimate will always save you. But then you also have the chain heals, which will heal at way more than before. We're talking about 146 extra heals. Wait. I think there's 2 different values. 520, I think it's when people are not linked, and 600, it's when they're linked. It increased 80 on people who are linked, and it increased for 146 when people are not linked. So there you go, massive buff on that. And they also increased the range of it, allowing you to stay a bit more safe, or to use those cards that give you the R and other effects by just using the chain heal, even if you're playing damage healer, right, where you can just trigger some of those cards. So there you go. Now let's go here into the next champion, which will be, surprise, Grover. Grover's damage was increased, pretty simple, straight away, from 300 to 350, which means that the scaling also still has that limit, but it will actually do more damage closer, right, because you're already starting with a little of extra damage. The scaling should be a little less, like you might lose 1 or 2% per like unit or something, or less than that, way less. But it definitely will be way more effective at close range, which is fine. Now the healing, however, on the Ramping Blooming talent got nerfed. The heals that you would do when using the Vine have been nerfed, and then the heals over time after that Vine heal burst will also be nerfed. Both of the numbers are there if you guys want to check it out. So yeah, that's the Grover's changes. Pip got a huge buff, in my opinion, at least. I know that, Combat Medic got nerfed, but then again, Heda was already doing way more heals than the last patch, due to his new passive of the, those 3 different passives, which, by the way, they apparently changed it to be a bit more readable or something like that. I guess when we get to PDS, we'll get to see that. But now he heals for less on Combat Medic, and he does more damage by default, which means that, his damage challenge will be way stronger even now. And when he's playing support Pip, he's doing as much as damage almost as the damage challenge with no effort, because that's just default damage Pip. Let's go into other champions here that they also talked about. They talked about, I believe, Azan, but we'll get to that. No, Kinessa. Okay, so Kinessa had a bit of a buff and also a new passive. So she now has a passive. Actually, she has 2 passives now. So Quickscope is now part of your base kit, okay, at level 3, which was 60% faster ADS, at, aiming down scope, is now at base kit. Which for some people who are already playing like me without the, the quick scope, that's huge, because I wasn't using that card anymore. And then, she has now a passive that once you hit somebody on a fully charged shot, it reveals them to you for 1 second, but only to you. So this is to allow you to essentially see if they're going to peek straight away, if they were hiding, or to which direction they're moving. Or maybe you did manage to hit a shot there in the middle of a Maeve ult, stuff like that. So, yeah. The card, the Quickscope that eventually went into base kit, however, will be, switched up with a new card called Eagle Eye, which you might remember from an old talent. But that increases the duration of the passive reveal by 0.25 each point, going up to a 1.25, meaning that you can reveal people to up to 2.25 seconds if you want this card on your base kit at 4 points. So I'm imagining a lot of people were coming back into the game and forgot to refresh their loadouts. They're going to be using this card at default, and they're going to have a huge amount of questions as to why the hell are people being revealed. to up to 2 seconds or more, because they probably have this card at 3, 4, or 5 points on base kit. So there you go. All right, let's go next into another champion, which is... Oh, yes, they also changed her Carabine so that it does less bloom, and it goes quicker into the center when you're stopping, when you're stopping shooting. So it goes back to, like, it's similar to Lex. After 4 shots, it starts losing a lot of accuracy. If you stop for a second, it goes back into the center and you can start again. It's similar to that. Either that, or they mean when you stop scoping, it goes into the center faster. Something like that, but we'll test it out on PDS. They also talk about generator scaling, slightly increased from 1.2 to 1.25. Whatever. I can even check here out. Where is Canessa here? So that... Wait, what? Hold up. I think they might have made a mistake here. Generator scaling slightly increased from 1.2 seconds. Oh, the cooldowns. Okay, the cooldowns to the mines. Yes, those are the cards. Never mind. So this card will be buffed, technically speaking. And I did see something about, I think it was power supply, but I would have to confirm that. Let me pause here real quick and go and confirm it. Okay, I just confirmed. So we were given, the partners were given some patch notes, like slight patch notes on Discord. And there was a change to apparently to power supply. But considering the fact that they didn't mention that on stream, I'm guessing somebody might have spoken about it and they actually canceled it. So since, that's not mentioned on the stream, I'm not actually going to tell you any values. I don't want people to freak out. Chances are that it might have been canceled. Okay, so for now, let's just assume there's no change to power supply. Although I would have, sometimes I think that it's pretty disgusting, but whatever. All right, let's continue here. So what we got next after Canessa? Is it Azan or who else was changed? Oh, BK, that's right. So BK has a talent. If you didn't know about this by now, I mean, most of you already suffered through this, but this talent here is going to be reworked. Okay, Royal Subjects, which is the one that increases the radius of the explosions, but it reduces the ammo by 2, has been changed, and now you'll have 2 poppy bombs instead, but the effect against enemies will be reduced all the way to 40% only. Or maybe reduces poppy bomb effect against enemies by... Oh, no! So, okay, so you do 60% because it reduces only 40%. Okay, so technically speaking, even if you use Jolt 5 will be putting 75% on top of those 60% that are now the new base. Okay, so it's not going to be 60 plus 75. No, it's 75 of 60 on top of those 60. This is actually diminishing returns. So I'm actually, I'll explain it to you guys on a future video that I'm planning on doing, which will be explaining the diminishing returns, but not just explaining them, actually telling you the technique so that you can get the values by yourself. You understand the logic instead of just telling you where you can get like a calculator or something. So don't forget to sub until I do that video. You'll see that video and you can get some good information out of it. Okay. So yeah, that is going to be changed for bonking. Then Leon got a buff. Fuck her. Her stacks on precision last 2 more seconds. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. So, Caspian had a little bit of a change, which was... I need to show you this so you can understand. Not a lot of you noticed this, but that was a shadow nerf to Caspian. Caspian, I say Caspian, I know people are like, it's not Caspian, it's Caspian. Whatever. Okay? I'm not even English. Fuck it. Okay? Shh. Be quiet. Listen to what I'm saying. It's way more important than you going at my throat because of it was some word that I didn't say correctly, okay? So, this card here, the Finer Things, was a heavily used card at the start. It was giving you speed that you could go up to 60% by hitting shots with your left weapon, but attention, this was working on everything, including shields. Then that got nerfed, but they also did a shadow nerf that didn't say anything to anybody, which was from 3 seconds to 1 second, which, I mean, if you guys test it out, you'll see the difference. Like, if you remember how it used to be, it's pretty bad right now. So they decided to put an extra second. So now it's 2 seconds. So the shadow nerf is sort of being half reverted. I mean, like, it still can't trigger on shields, so yeah. That's actually a suggestion of mine. I know some people might be upset about that, but I mean, it's not really meant. He's not meant to trigger cards on shields and deployables. That was something they tried to shut down a long time ago. It wouldn't make a lot of sense that some people can't do it, and then Caspian comes along and says, I can. So after that, we got a Zon, which I'm just gonna say this right now. I got nothing against the Paladins developers. I got nothing against anyone in Hires. But this is not fine, okay? I know Azan is not the most broken thing in Paladins, but what the fuck? Man got buffed on his HP. Man got buffed on his cooldown of his shield. Man got buffed on the amount of ire that he gets from hitting and also taking damage. Man got buffed on the amount of the drain delay that it starts to take his fucking ire, and then he got buffed on the fact that it takes less ire along the time. Like, this fucker got buffed from top to bottom, and I know that a lot of you don't play Azan. I know that you were probably thinking, dude, listen, initial Azan was way worse. Yeah, sure, but listen, I'm fucking pissed, okay? Because when I find a good Azan, this is a nightmare to deal with. You got no fucking idea what a Azan with some fucking shields, right, of a Torvald just babysitting the guy, or some, like, a full dive team with a Azan there, right, with everybody helping the guy. Like, dude, why? This man did not need this. Please, for the love of God, cancel this. I beg you. Alright, I know that a lot of you who play Azan are really happy about this, but I mean, just like I don't want crazy fucking buffs on Vora, because she's my main, I also don't want other fucking champions to be this massive, okay? You guys remember how Azan was at the start? Let me give you some piece of information you probably don't know. Let me tell you that Azan is the only champion in the entire game that ignores CC immunity. That's right. Motherfucker can actually dash through a CC immune target and still stun them. Now, they won't be stunned because they're CC immune, but you will see that their animation is of being stunned. So he's literally ignoring CC immunity. If you don't believe me, grab a Vora, use your ultimate, and then have an Azan dashing through you while you're on that third-person view and CC immunity. You will see exactly what I'm talking about. Then he can actually teleport people from the front of his shield to the back of his shield if they're standing in between two walls, or vice versa. If they're standing in the behind of those two shields right there in the corner, and he's hugging that wall, and he dashes against it, they will be teleported to your side. Then his fucking lift cancels any movement ability in the game. That is a knock-up, but acts like a fucking cripple. Alright? And then finally, hold up, this is the fucking banger. Motherfucker can use his ultimate to move both Yago and Luna. Characters who are not meant to move. That's right. So, when I talk about that this shit pisses me off, it does. Alright? Hell no. Fuck that. I am so sorry, but hell no. Let's moving on. Jesus, I'm so sorry. Atlas got a huge buff, at least in my opinion. He got buffed both on his second chance, which is the ability to go back in time. He has now 3 less seconds. That is huge. And I believe that he has a card, if I'm not mistaken here, I believe he has a card that allows that to even go further, correct? Yeah. So, you could take a 2.5 seconds, plus it's now 15 seconds. So you take 2.5 seconds out of that, it'll be 12.5, plus you can put Chronos in that, which means the Chronos will take away close to 3.7 seconds out of it, making it around 9 seconds. You can have second chance at around 9 seconds if you are playing with that card and Chronos at max. There you go. Onto the talent. Temporal Divide, the talent that actually gives you the big wall. It had a massive penalty of the increased cooldown, so it would put the shield cooldown at 20 seconds or so. But you know, people still used it because it would cover huge sections of the map, which was fantastic. However, what they did was they took away that penalty, so the shield is always going to have that same cooldown. There's only one way to, there's actually two ways, sorry, to reduce that cooldown, which is the card that reduces the cooldown if you hit people with the rewind, and also the Chronos, obviously. There's also then other ways like Octavia's passive and not Deja Vu, sorry, but the talent, the first talent of Corvus or whatever. Sure, but like you understand now, the cooldown will always be the same, but in this talent, the duration of the wall will be less 1.5 seconds, meaning that people don't have to wait as much to then be able to move on to, to their face. It will be more used to possibly like sort of diminish or stop big ultimates, like maybe a let's say a Betty bomb that it's coming over, maybe a Seris ult, something that might be very beneficial to the enemies and very penalizing to your team. You can then try to stop it. You can also use it to save somebody. For those 3.5 seconds, they should have enough time to run away. So there you go. After Atlas, I don't think they talked about anything else. Makoa. Okay, Makoa, which is another thing that I still don't understand why. So his shell shield, sorry, the normal shield that he has, it was 14 seconds of cooldown, and then it had a duration of 4 seconds. Now it will be 5 seconds. Now, just for the record, just so I can give you a small little idea here, you can actually put the increased duration of it to an additional 3 seconds, which means that not only will be max 7 seconds, it will be 8 seconds. I believe, actually, let me see here something. And it lasts 2 seconds more. So not only does it have now 5 seconds plus 2, and then plus 3, so that's a big ass shield for a very long time. You're really gonna have to destroy it now if people are gonna use that card. Fun. All right. Terminus did had a huge buff though, at least in my opinion. I liked it a lot, which is now when he dies and uses his ultimate, not only will he have his movement ability, his Shatterfall, which you guys probably remember from the last patch, it will be completely reduced cooldown so he can use it again, but he'll also have his Power Siphon back entirely. Now, it won't be like a flash, just a full Power Siphon bar. Instead, while you're doing the animation of charging, while he's like then warming up to blow up, the bar will slowly fill up to 100%. So this means that you don't try to save Power Siphon before you use your ultimate. There's no need at all. All right, now you can actually just use it until last second possible. Make the team work, the enemy team work hard to kill you, right? Use all that resource, and only then, my guys, you then just let it go when you have no more resource. So you use the ultimate and you get it fully back. I still had the idea of maybe him having like 50% DR for 3 seconds after using the ultimate, but this one is actually pretty good as well, so I'm not really going to bother much. All right. I think when it comes to balance, this was only it. This was the only thing. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, Yagarath had a little bit of a change. Honestly, this is so minor that I'm not even going to bother. They just changed it, the ticks a little bit on that talent, that it's unnatural persistence, that it heals you. They changed it to be, instead of each 0.25 seconds to get a tick, it'll be every 1 second you'll get a heal. So you see like bigger healing numbers. I don't get it. I did have a suggestion for that. Unfortunately, I don't think they've ever liked it, which was instead, with this talent, Yagarath would heal people around her like Luna does with Lifeline. Lifeline? Lifelink? Yeah, I think it's Lifelink. Whatever. There you go. That was a suggestion I gave a long time ago. I thought that would be the thing they were going to be doing, but apparently not. All right, let's go into the rest, the more important stuff that I know you guys are here for. I will divide this on the video later, so hopefully you guys are going to be able to see those little bars on the bottom. Little fun Easter egg here. I don't think I can pull it in the right place. Oh, there it is. So, my boy Feisty, they're talking here about Aram Royale, and my boy Feisty here and Thor showing up, just stealing the chicken and going away. That's fantastic. Here, I think they're talking about the new event that it's coming. So I'm going to try to explain it. If I stop here the image, right around here, in that screen, you'll be able to see that there's a longer line there, right? So for me, it doesn't show that because it doesn't show here the earn rewards. But if you pay attention, it does seem like that is the last one on the last line there. Then I actually went through the trouble to try to figure out what that was, and it says Anniversary Rewards or events or something like that. Essentially, there's a new event, and it will be here. So the event will be on top of this current event pass. So this event pass will still be going on for another 60 days. For the next 2 months, we're still going to have this patch, but with an event, because this is what this patch that I'm talking about right now on stream, on video here for you guys. This is what the patch is all about, right? This is a mid-patch with an event. Something that we haven't had for a very long time. We hadn't had events like this where you can earn certain things for free, like skins and such. And this is actually fantastic, okay? Because a lot of people wanted stuff like this, and we finally had it. So the event is pretty simple. There will be these four things, these things here that you can do. First of all, the new event mode, which we'll talk about, the Siege Remixed, and I'll explain why is it called Remixed in the end of the video. But then we're gonna have themed skins. 5 skins that are related to Anniversary, whatever. You understand? Anniversary? God, I'm not going to stand too much time here trying to say the word right. Whatever. And you will be able to earn some different rewards. Like if you play one game, you can get like maybe 4 champions for free. Okay, so if you're a new player, this is going to be huge for you. If you play like 4 games, you'll be able to get a random free anniversary skin from those 5 skins that I explained, because they will be in a chest that will be very much likely look like this, but with a little party hat of an, the little parties. Anniversary parties, and then the rest you're gonna have to buy it yourself. You're gonna have to roll it, all the other 4 different skins that you're gonna be missing, obviously. And then apparently they will also be putting another chest, which is the chest with limited skins from all the battle passes that have been locked for so long, where you will get a free roll for that chest. Now, personally, I don't know how this is going to work, because I own every single skin in the game, except for one weapon skin, which I'm still waiting for an opportunity for it to show up. But they only talk about limited skins on this chest. So I'm imagining that either A, where I keep the roll, and if another limited skin is added into it, one day I'll be able to just roll it. Or B, I will get boosters. Either way, I don't really know how it's going to work. We're going to have to wait for PDS to see exactly how it's going to work. So you got actually a chance here for free. This is all for free, by the way. For free, you'll be able to get a limited skin from the previous battle passes. Battle passes, not event passes, remember. Limited. Skins that never made it back into the game. Skins that never were available ever again to purchase in a chest. Okay? Now, the random anniversary skins, obviously, you can then obtain them all. As for this chest, I think you can only get 1 roll. You cannot buy it anymore. I think it's literally you just get 1 roll, that's it. You cannot buy the rest, okay? Don't at least this is information I got from what I listened from them. So now they're going to be showing us here the anniversary skins, okay? And I believe the skins are as follow. Androxus, as you can see here, which it apparently goes a little bit with the theme of like 5 years, the color scheme and etc., which is fantastic, as you can see. Very silver, metallic on the top, and with the symbol of Paladins all over. They did use, I think, the cape, or at least it seems like it, from the Fallen Androxus. I don't know. Maybe you guys know what I'm talking about, but it does really feel like that. It was Androxus, Ying, Maeve, Seris. Androxus, Seris, Ying, Maeve. Who am I missing? It doesn't matter. Whatever. We're going to go through every single one of them. And as you can see here, this is how the skin looks like in third person. And in first person, the weapon is always going to have those confettis. And this is exactly what the theme is going to go about. Every single one of the V effects will have similar stuff. Balloons, and then like fireworks and little confettis. And the last skin that I was missing was Viktor, exactly. Somebody was calling attention to me on chat. As you see here, his ultimate has that, and it drops balloons when he shoots. And they're random color balloons, but not just that. Every single one of these skins will have a death kill effect, right? And the death kill effect, for what I understood, will be dropping that there on the bottom with the Evil Mojo logo, which essentially is the cup for all the esports events, with a little balloon saying 5 and then some other balloons on top. And now this is what these 5 different skins, the weapons at least, will be creating effects when killing people. They said that during this patch, all right, which will be at the end of June, so it will be like around for the duration of 1 month, during that time, everyone that you play with, anytime they kill somebody, will have this effect. So for what I can understand, all of our death kill effects or whatever will be disabled during that patch to celebrate the 5th anniversary of the release of Paladins. So don't be upset, okay? Don't think your stuff is gone or it's a bug. No, this is actually intentional. Everyone is going to have this effect, which is actually fantastic. As you can see here, anytime you kill somebody, you're going to have that little effect. The second one here is Maeve. There's no need to listen to anything, obviously, because there's no like sound effects or anything that it's different. But they use the Years of Alicat together with the cloak. Obviously, they put the little silver on top with the blue and the silver and black on the bottom. The symbols of Paladins on the bottom as well. The blades are silver and blue with a little party hat on the head. Very, very cool. And as you can see here, when she shoots, she drops confettis as well. She does the little effects that are on the side with the prowl. I believe with the pounce, she also does that. And with the ultimate, there's also like confettis all over on the screen for you. And when you hit people, the shots also still, you know, after the event is over, every time you use one of these weapons, it will have this kill effect, okay? But I was trying to show you here the attack, as you can see here, the attack and also the pounce. Okay, so those are the effects for Maeve skin. Let's take a look into the Seris skin. The Seris skin here, as you can see, it has a little bit of that effect of the skin of the recolor of the skin of Fervora. I can actually show you this and explain it to you what I'm talking about, because some of you will be a little bit, you know, you'll be a bit confused. But you can see here this effect that goes a little bit dark on the edges. Almost similarly, it seems like her leg is actually thinner than it is. And it's almost like filled with like a void or air around. It's actually just the effect, right? And it's a bit exaggerated, but it actually looks fantastic. And I decided to put that on here on her, and I believe on Ying as well. We'll get to that skin in a second here. You see here the cape also has the Paladin symbols, some other little effects, which will look amazing. Top, very silver metallic, and a little extra little thing. I don't know if you noticed that, but the weapon that she has, right? Hi, how you doing? I messed up. Sorry. So, if you go here into Seris, and there's actually a skin that Seris has. That it's this one. No, not this one. Sorry, the Espo 2018, which her weapon has the exact same crystal. So this was incorporated into that skin, but then it has a particular little thing here. Well, this is cool. I can actually put this on top of Paladins here. Oh, this is actually very nice. So they did an extra little thing here, which let me just pull it off here so you guys can see it correctly. So when she shoots crystals. That's just absolutely fantastic. The confetti's all around when she's healing, when she's reloading. The confetti's over her weapon, and when she goes in shadow travel, everything is like with little bling blings and confetti's all over. Her ultimate as well also has a very unique effect. So when it triggers, which I think he's going to trigger it right here. So you're trying to get the ultimate, and it's going to trigger the ultimate here. You see that once it triggers, it pulls everybody together, does an explosion, and balloons everywhere. It's going to be fantastic. Going to be balloons all over once it happens, this patch. And then not only did they give a skin to Viktor, but they endorsed the old Viktor for this anniversary skin. And I'm not gonna lie, I think this was a little bit due to old Viktor. If you guys have ever heard about old Viktor, he's one of the Crystal Award winners from last year. He's been working heavily on like showing you guys like a lot of different maps, stuff that got, you know, that disappeared over time, and also some like recolor skins that got taken away from the game, and he showcases them all. Somehow Somehow they actually brought this instead of the normal uh current default Viktor with the eye patch and the little hat and everything, a little 5 on like 5 in the crystal on the shoulder there, which is very, very cool. The weapon doesn't have like crazy effects or anything. When he shoots, it's just like mainly blue. But the ultimates obviously do the exact same thing: explosions with confettis and then the balloons. Okay. And then the grenade does all those little firework confetti things, which is really, really fun. Oh, yeah, the little trophy also blows up later with confetti. So it's going to be confettis all over. So that's actually fantastic, which it kind of gives me a sense of hope that if they can do this for a small patch of 1 month only, this might mean that in the future, stuff like, for example, April Fools might actually happen. We might actually have stuff like that come into Paladins and other events that might come in the future to celebrate some other things. So here is the Ying skin with the same effect on her socks, leggings, whatever you want to call it, that I was talking about. Her mask also pretty darn cool, and her mirror's amazing. This reminds me a little bit of Snapdragon. I think they used a little bit of the style from that skin as well. Actually, now that I'm talking about it, did they actually show that skin here around? We'll go back to this. Like, is that her? That is her, isn't it? Anniversary skins. It is. It just looked like Snapdragon for a second, so I had no idea that it was gonna have any sort of difference or anything. It's actually. Oh, and if anyone is asking why they specifically chose these 5 champs, it is because these 5 champions are actually the most, the most famous ones on Paladins. Okay, so there you go. First person does that little crystal, confettis. Also, when she's shooting here, as you can see, very cool. Little confetti's floating. It's like you're under the water. Then it does the crystal when placing the clones. The clones also blow up into balloons. Very, very nice. And when she does the ultimate, I think he's going to do it here. It does confettis, I think, around a little bit of the people affected by the heals, but nothing too crazy. Her ultimate doesn't have like anything crazy about it. Okay, so if you're wondering, yeah, unfortunately doesn't have that much. Now they brought Shaq here. If you don't know, this is our level designer currently that it's working so much. And this is what he was working on for the last few months. So remember me talking about Siege Remixed? So for those who've never played Paladins on closed alpha or early closed beta, I believe, there was a mode that essentially was some of the current maps we know now. They were actually unified into one big map. There were 3 different maps. One that was jungle, one that was Serpent Beach, and etc. And then the other one which was ice mines and so on. And then they split them up into separate maps and they became our current siege maps. These maps had gates that right there, they're not there. You can see that it's nothing there right there, what I'm pointing at. But because there was a slight little change. The old mode was very different when it comes to talents and cards and such. And the idea of this game mode was that there would be 3 different spawns on the map for the payload. One of them would become active. You go and fight and control that point and get the payload. The payload would be actually a cannon and not a payload full of bombs or gold. And that cannon would move on to the enemy side and destroy their gates. Each team would have 3 gates, and the team that actually destroys the gates from the enemy team faster wins. This was essentially that. You could destroy the cannon, by the way, to defend your gates. So what they did was they brought back the maps, but this is still normal siege. So one of the points will become active. You then go and fight over the control of that point, and the payload will move just perfectly normal how you do in siege, all the way until the spawn of the enemy and blow up. And a new round starts. New round starts, new point gets active. Okay, so this one will be actually with rounds. You cap the payload, you deliver it, new round starts, you spawn at the spawn again, and you go into another round, and it depends on how many rounds you're going to play. Maybe you'll go 1 to 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. 4 will be the last one, so you might have the chance to actually spin all the 3 different points at least once in a match, and actually, just keep defending and you'll have a longer match on this. These maps are massive, by the way. I'm going to let it play here just so you guys to have a notion. You start off here where he started. There's obviously a spawn where you're protected, and there's also a little bit of an addition here. These portals here, you didn't see it right there, but you'll show it up later. The portals are actually one-way portals, so only you can use it from that side. If the enemy goes there, they can't use it, so they will have to use verticality or go around the map in order to like get upstairs and etc. to get into higher points near your spawn. This is one of the points, for example, that will be active eventually. This is the other one, which is you guys might recognize that one over there, which is actually Jaguar Falls. If he goes back, here it is, the little room here with a point here to fight over. And then if we go further into the side, you'll find, I believe it is Serpent Beach. So there you go, Serpent Beach right here, to where you have another point to capture. So one of these 3 points will become active. You then have to collect the point to 100% and spawn the payload, pull it all the way to the enemy side. So it's a pretty simple mode, but with very big maps, and that's fantastic. So right here, they will be showing us another version of this game mode and a different map, actually. This one is the forest one, right? And here on this one, you'll see a couple of ones that you might recognize. Like, for example, this is the side of one of the spawns of the fish market. If you go any further, there's also the vault, but obviously that is not active. It used to be something. As you can see here, the enemy's portals are different colored, and it will not allow you to use it. And grass will be here, and remounting is part of this, because obviously, why not? They also spoke about something about when you die near a point that it's active and there's a point fight, you might be spawned back close to that, but not in the spawn. I don't know if that's actually intentional, or if it's just a test they might be doing, or if this is just an idea they had. When PTS comes out, we'll see that. They also talked about smaller times of respawns, because obviously these are longer maps. You're going to need less time to move faster back into point to have those point fights. So this one here, Fish Market, literally the point of Fish Market, as you can see here. And I believe there's another one here, but I don't remember correctly which one it was. Yeah, this one, I think it was a little bit of the side there of Fish Market, but then it got changed and they never actually created a map specifically just for this point. So each one of these sides, as you can recognize from maps that we have currently, this was actually the story of Paladins, right? These were old maps. As you can see, there'll be like lines telling you where the payload is going through, so you know where to go to intercept the payload and etc., or to just regroup with your team, or to know where the enemy side is going to be. And I think it actually had mini maps, but I don't know. I don't know if they're going to activate that again. But yeah, these maps were too big, so they just divided them into smaller maps with 1 point, and that's it. Here he's going to show us the last one, which is the ice one, which has 3 maps that you probably recognize. At least 2 of them you will recognize. The other one never made it in, I think, or at least they deleted it. This is the spawn for Frozen Guard, if you remember correctly here, which then got shut, you know, a lot of sections got shut down. And also some stuff got added. You'll see here the point to Frozen Guard in a second there, where he just passed right there. That's the point to Frozen Guard on the right side where we just passed here. And he will go into this section. He will go over to, oh, actually he's going to the Frozen Guard. So here's a Frozen Guard point. And if you continue off, you'll find a very familiar map, which is Ice Mines, as you can see here. Old Ice Mines. Very, very nice. And if you continue even further, you'll find the 3rd point, which never actually made it into a map, unfortunately, which I don't remember the name right now, but here it is in this section here. Yeah, this is the one. Like, so this never made it into a map. Maybe, who knows? Maybe in the future they'll bring it back. I like this old art style. It was way, way better. It was fantastic. And yeah, like this is coming back, ladies and gentlemen. They also said they're going to be doing LTMs of this specific mode when during the weekends with some variations, like cards to the max, maybe like increased speed, maybe like, I don't know, extra knockbacks or something like that. It really depends. When the time comes, we'll see. But during the week, it'll be a normal, active, full-time active LTM of this mode for you guys to test out the maps. And test out the old mode, which was absolutely fantastic. It's just like with the difference that it's actually normal siege mode, okay? So if you're wondering, yeah, that will be exactly it. I believe that there was nothing else. If I missed anything else, feel free to tell me down in the comments below so I can add it as extra information. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is a big video. I'm going to have to crop it here on the little bar. On the bar when you're watching the video will be like little sections there that I will divide it. So you can go straight into whatever section you want to see. But there you go. This is the Anniversary mid patch with an event to go as complimentary to go on top of our current patch of the Midnight Masquerade patch. So let me know what you think about this patch now in the comments below. What was the most exciting thing about this patch that you enjoyed? Do you think that they should be doing more of these in the future or not? And is there anything about balance that you, for example, you didn't like as well? That's also very useful because we'll then transmit it over to developers. And yeah, just let me know down in the comments below what you were the most excited for. Thank you so much for watching. That'll be it for today. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, stay safe. Bye-bye.